Let's review a few important terms when working with clay. Kiln. A kiln is a big oven that heats up clay projects to over 1800 degrees Fahrenheit. 2. Fire. This refers to the clay baking in the kiln. We say that our projects have been fired in the kiln. 3. Bisqueware. Bisqueware is clay that has been fired one time. 4. Glaze. The special paint that we apply to Bisqueware to add color and shine to our clay projects. And 5. Greenware. Clay that has been glazed and fired a second time. Glazing your bisque-fired clay. We are able to paint our clay projects with glaze after it has been fired one time. When it is finished, it would look like this example here. It will be colorful and have a glossy, shiny finish. One of the most important things to keep in mind when you are glazing is to not glaze the bottom of your project. When I say bottom, I'm referring to the area of the project that touches the surface of the table, for example. The reason is, projects that have been glazed need to be fired. When the glaze is heated and builds that shiny coat, it also becomes sticky in the heat, and it will stick to anything that is touching it. So if the bottom has glaze on it, it's going to get stuck to the kiln. The glaze we are using is lead-free, non-toxic, and food-safe. You apply glaze just like you apply paint. Make sure you fill every part of your project, especially if you plan to put food or drink from it. The glaze is what will make your clay project waterproof. You'll notice that the glaze dries rather quickly. I recommend that you apply 2 coats of the glaze to make sure that you cover all of the surface. Each coat of glaze will make your colors appear more vibrant and solid. Notice again how I am painting on 2 layers or 2 coats of glaze. With this special glaze, you can layer different colors on top of each other. Just make sure the first layer has dried before applying the second layer. Here I am painting green spots over the white glaze that I had painted on a few minutes ago. The green will show brightly over the white as long as the white layer of paint was dry before I added the green dots. Once again, I'm adding 2 coats, so I'm going over my green dots another time to make sure that those colors will show brightly. So I can paint over parts that I've already glazed. So I'm adding some black dots for eyes right over the green that has been dried. And I'm going to make sure that once those black dots for eyes dry, I'll add a second layer on top. Lastly, can't forget that little tail at the end. Before I set it on the cart to be fired a second time, I'm going to make sure that I don't have any glaze on the bottom of my clay project. I did add some glaze on the bottom of the head and tail because when I check it, it's not touching the surface when it sits. So that part's okay to add glaze to. So you might want to double check what part of your project is touching the surface when it is sitting down. If you happen to get glaze on the bottom of your project by mistake, simply take a sponge and wipe off the glaze. Now my clay project is ready to be fired a second time and become greenware, ready to be taken home.